Today we're making chicken fajitas with all the accoutrements. Guacamole salad, Mexican style rice, pretty much everything you could ask for. So if you're like me, you've tried making chicken fajitas at home, and you've probably experienced that they never quite taste like they do at the Mexican restaurant. So I'm here to tell you, after making this dozens of times, I finally have a recipe that makes this taste like restaurant quality chicken fajitas at home. Without further ado, let's get to cooking. Chicken fajitas have always been one of my favorite Mexican dishes. Not only are they easy to make, they're absolutely delicious. Since chicken fajitas cook so fast, we're gonna get our mise en place ready to go before we start cooking. We're gonna start by shredding up some iceberg lettuce nice and fine, peeling and slicing one onion with the grain, and then we're also gonna dice a little bit up for our guacamole and pico de gallo. Next, we're gonna thinly slice some bell peppers. You don't have to use all 4 colors. 2 colors should be fine for this dish. You just wanna make sure you slice them nice and thin, the same size as the onions, so they cook evenly. Here's a quick tip if you have leftover peppers. You want to place them in a Ziploc bag with some paper towel, and they'll last about 1 to 2 weeks in the fridge if you store them this way. Next, we're going to finely mince up a few cloves of garlic. We'll use some in our fajitas as well as in our guacamole. Now for the tomatoes, we're using Roma tomatoes. 2 tomatoes we're going to dice bigger for our fajitas, and the other 2 we're going to remove the seeds and do a small dice. Some will go in our pico de gallo, and some will go in our guacamole later on. And lastly, we're going to chop up a little bit of cilantro, then set aside and have it ready to go. Now let's move on to making a seasoning blend that we'll use to season our fajitas. We're going to start with 2 teaspoons of garlic powder, onion powder, chili powder, oregano, 1 teaspoon of cumin, 1 teaspoon of paprika, and a half a teaspoon of cayenne. Give that a good mix and set aside. Now let's move on to making our accoutrements, starting with our pico de gallo. In a bowl, we're going to add some finely diced tomatoes, a little bit of our diced onion, a handful of chopped cilantro, some olive oil, and then season with salt and pepper. Give that a mix until combined. You're looking for a 2-to-1 ratio tomatoes to onion. Let's move on to making our guacamole. We're going to start by slicing 2 to 3 avocados in half and removing the pit. Then we're going to scoop the flesh of the avocado and add it to a large bowl. Then using a potato masher or a fork, mash the avocados until it reaches your desired consistency. Now to the guacamole, we're going to add just a little bit of diced onion, some diced tomato, a little minced garlic, and some chopped cilantro. Season with salt and pepper and give it a mix. Then I almost forgot to add a little bit of lime juice. We're going to add about 1 to 2 teaspoons of lime juice, give it a mix, give it a taste, and adjust the seasoning to your liking. And that's our guacamole. Go ahead and set aside until you're ready to use. Now let's move on to making our Mexican style rice. I recommend using white long grain rice for this recipe. We're going to take a medium-sized saucepan and coat the bottom with a little bit of vegetable oil. We're going to add 1/4 cup of some diced onion and season with salt, pepper, a little cumin, and a little oregano. Give that a mix and fry the onions until they turn translucent. Then we're going to add a little bit of minced garlic and saute for 1 minute or until fragrant. Now we're going to add 2 cups of rice, toast for around 3 to 5 minutes before adding 1/4 cup of diced tomato and 1/4 cup of tomato sauce. Give that a mix and bring to a gentle simmer. Then we're going to add 1 chicken bouillon cube for some salt and flavor. Once the chicken bouillon cube is dissolved, add 4 cups of water. Now this is optional, but I'm going to add a little bit of turmeric for color. If you don't have any turmeric, go ahead and leave it out. Give the rice one final mix, cover with a lid, and let it simmer on low for around 20 minutes. Once cooked, let it sit for 5 minutes, fluff it up with a spoon, and then set aside until you're ready to use. Now we only have one more thing left to do before we cook our fajitas. We're going to take some chicken breast, cut them in half lengthwise, then we're going to cut them again into 3 sections about 1.5 inches long. Now I've been experimenting with something. I'm going to cut the chicken against the grain into 1/4 inch strips. I have no idea if this makes the chicken more tender. I know it works for steak, but we're going to try it out and see if we notice a difference. Finally, let's move on to making our fajitas and putting this all together. In a smoking hot cast iron pan, we're going to add a few tablespoons of vegetable oil and our chicken. Season with salt, pepper, and a little bit of our fajita seasoning. Sear the chicken and cook about 50% of the way done, then add a touch more oil and the sliced onion and peppers. Season with a little more salt, pepper, and fajita seasoning, then give that a toss, adding more oil if you need to, and let the vegetables cook until they begin to soften. At this point, we're going to add some diced tomatoes and a little bit of minced garlic. Continue to cook for 2 to 3 minutes until the garlic is fragrant, and then you're done. Now it's best to serve these fajitas while they're smoking hot, so we're going to plate them up on a large plate, then we're going to garnish with chopped cilantro and a few lime wedges. We're going to serve our rice on the side, along with some refried beans, some shredded lettuce, pico de gallo, guacamole, and sour cream. Then I like to add some cotija cheese and garnish a little cilantro. So there's our accoutrements and our chicken fajitas. I can't wait to dive into this. Let's give it a try. Nice hot corn tortilla. I prefer corn tortillas. If you want to use flour, go ahead and use it. We're gonna do a little bit of everything. Get a little of this sour cream on here, a little bit of guac, some of these peppers and onions and chicken. My mouth's watering. I'm trying this intermittent fasting stuff. It's going okay. A little bit of lime. All right, let's see how we did. This is so spot on to what you're gonna get at the Mexican restaurant. I only order 2 things when I go to a Mexican restaurant, tacos or fajitas. And I'll tell you what, these are accurately close to authentic fajitas you're gonna get at the Mexican restaurant. The chicken's nice and tender, the vegetables still got a little bit of snap. It's seasoned perfectly, not too salty. That's the key, just a little bit of seasoning. You don't wanna overpower the seasoning with the chili powder and stuff. You still wanna taste the freshness of the vegetables, in my opinion. Let's taste our rice. The rice is really good. It's not overcooked, surprisingly. I'll tell you this, it's not close to what I usually get at the Mexican restaurant that's by my house. It's still good, but they must be doing something to it that I can't figure it out. This is an easy meal you can make. It comes together super fast, maybe less than 30 minutes on a busy weeknight after you cut up all the vegetables. When we were cooking the fajitas, they were done in like 7 minutes, super fast. Now, traditionally, this is made on a flat top in the Mexican restaurants. At home, you probably don't have a flat top unless you have a black stone outside on the patio, but if it's wintertime like it is now, you can't cook on the patio. But if you do have a flat top, I highly recommend you use that so you can get the nice char on the meat, and so that way it doesn't over steam and make stuff a little bit soggy. Try this. Open up.
It's delicious.
So there you have it. We made chicken fajitas. Please leave me a comment. Let me know what you want to see me cook next. If you enjoyed this video or you learned something, give me a like, subscribe. I'll see you in the next video. Peace.